Now, Ghana's military should be very much on high alert right now. Now, a few weeks ago, we reported right here on this particular platform about an attempted coup d'etat which was failed, according to the Benin's President Talon. He said that the coup d'etat which was attempted by some small group of soldiers was failed, basically, which means that it was not successful. But then the main figurehead behind this whole coup d'etat, his name is Colonel Tagri. Now, Colonel Tagri was arrested and subsequently detained. But then for some reason, a few days ago, information came out that he has escaped from detention. And guess what? According to the Benin authorities, they are of the view that he has escaped to the neighboring country. Now, initially, news came in that he has escaped. He had escaped to Togo, and now news is also coming in that he has escaped to Burkina Faso. Now, Burkina Faso have issued a statement, Togo too have issued a statement, and now both of these countries are kind of saying that we don't have Colonel Tagri in our country, which kind of confirms that he may be in another country. And look at the sequence: from Benin, we have Togo; from Togo, we have Ghana. Now, we don't know what the Ghanaian authorities will do about it. Definitely, they have to investigate, they have to screen, they have to get their facts well to know if indeed Colonel Tagri Pascal is indeed in Ghana, or perhaps he's in Togo, Burkina Faso, or Cote d'Ivoire. Now, these are the three men that currently Benin is actually hunting for. As you can see on the screen, this is Tagri Pascal. He's the lieutenant colonel who led this particular coup d'etat, and then his co-conspirators. One's name is Captain Usman Samari, and the other name is Captain Major Sabini Castro. So these are the three people, perhaps the mastermind behind this coup d'etat. Now, far from this, when this issue started coming up, and all of a sudden, these three people, they've escaped detention. We don't know where they are, and even the whole issue of Nigeria stepping in to foil the attack, news just came in again suggesting that Tagri may be in neighboring Togo, Burkina Faso, or perhaps Cote d'Ivoire, maybe even in Ghana. Now, let's put this on the screen. It says, Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tagri, the alleged leader of Benin's failed coup d'etat or coup attempt, has escaped to neighboring Togo after fleeing authorities in Cotonou, the country's main political and economic hub. Benin's government has requested his extradition, saying he crossed the border as security forces moved to reassert control after the attempted takeover, while Togo has yet to publicly confirm whether he is in their custody. So now, Togo has not really confirmed if Colonel Pascal Tagri is in their country or not. But then there we also got another tweet which also stated, breaking news: Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tagri, the mastermind behind the failed revolutionary military takeover in Benin, who initially fled to Togo, is now in Burkina Faso. According to reports, Captain Ibrahim Traoré government has granted him a political refugee status. This decision aligns with Burkina Faso's humanitarian commitments and principle of solidarity, a core value of the Alliance of Sahel States (AES). In keeping with these principles, Colonel Pascal Tagri will fully benefit from the hospitality and protection provided by Burkina Faso and the other AES member states. President Traoré said in an official statement. He added that Burkina Faso reaffirms its dedication to the tradition of hospitality, fraternity, and cooperation among African people. Details remain unclear regarding how Colonel Tagri managed to leave Togo for Burkina. His arrival comes just hours after Benin's Western Puppet President Patrice Talon urged Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé's government to immediately extradite Tagri, warning that failure to do so will be proof that Togo was involved in the military takeover attempt. So this is the news that came out. But then shortly after this whole news, started pumping out on social media, then information came out to kind of suggest that this whole issue about the coup d'etat, Colonel Tagri being in Togo, leaving Togo for Burkina Faso, it is untrue, because as I'm speaking to you now, Burkina Faso have released a statement debunking these rumors on social media, alleging that Colonel Tagri is in their custody. Now, we'll be putting what they said on their screens, on your screen, saying that this whole report basically is fake news. And if you read it somewhere, perhaps you should know that this is not true. So this was the statement that came out, and Burkina Faso is saying that this statement is not true. And then also they are saying that Colonel Tagri Pascal is not in their country. Now, we've translated this from French to English. As you can see, it says it says the presidency of Burkina Faso informs the national and international public that it has granted political refugee status to Colonel Pascal Tagri. The decision is in line with Burkina Faso's humanitarian commitment and in accordance with principles of solidarity, a fundamental value of the alliance of Sahel states. Now, all of these things which came, or this particular report which came in this particular press release, we are learning that it is fake. So the original, now this is the original, you realize that they've put they've put fake press release, which means it's not true. So we don't know the whereabouts of Colonel Pascal Tagri. Is he in Togo? He can certainly flee to Nigeria because Nigeria joined in ousting or perhaps foiling this particular coup d'etat attempt. So if he's not in Togo, because Foreign Yasingbe says that he's not in Togo, or if they are failing to comment about this whole issue, coup d'etat issue, where is he? Burkina Faso certainly is also saying that he is not in their country. What about Cote d'Ivoire? Cote d'Ivoire have not commented. Maybe, perhaps it's in Ghana. Who knows? So this is exactly what is really going on. But then, in regards to this same coup d'etat, human rights activist, Kenyan human rights activist Patrick Lolumba has come out to actually blast Nigeria for getting involved in the Benin coup d'etat. And according to him, Nigeria is still taking orders from France, a colonial master or a former colonial master of Benin. So clearly to him, Africans are still under some sort of colonialism.
You know, I sometimes it's very interesting. France is a unique colonizer. It is unique in the sense that it is one that from an analyst's perspective has been rejected the most by its former colonizers. And that rejection has economic implications. So that when we see the desperation, it is because of economic reasons. If recent reports are true in Burkina Faso, they are trying to seize or take by some compensation the assets of Total Energies. So if you get into a space like Benin, which has a major seaport in Porto Novo, you are finding yourself as France in a situation where your space is becoming smaller and smaller. I do not know whether Macron has confirmed or denied that there was a phone call, but be that as it may, I think there was some communication. Whether it's a phone call or not, we do not know, but some communication is going on. And this is the case of a leader and a European power that is losing ground on a daily basis. Losing ground, and its economic territory is disappearing. It is not only in Benin. They are struggling in Algeria. They are struggling in the Sahel. And they are struggling even in Europe, where they want to be a power. They are struggling.
Now, far from that, one person to also have joined in this course is Wolu, human rights activist, or perhaps poet Wolu Soyinka. Forgive me if I didn't get the name right. Now, he recently had a spat with American government when he was denied the visa and all of that. But then he has come out to say that the momentum that Nigerian President Tinubu used in deploying soldiers to Benin to stop the coup d'etat, he should have used that same momentum to deploy his children in Lagos to go and do that work.
Tinubu didn't have to send the Air Force and the military to deal with this particular insurrection, this threat to our own sense of security and equilibrium. No, there are easier ways of doing it. Let me tell you where Tinubu should have looked for forces to quell that insurrection. Right here in Lagos. Right here. Or in Abuja, perhaps, I don't know. But there was no need to call the military or the Air Force. I'll tell you what happened. On one of my home visits, this about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I said, oh, they're shooting a film. That was on the grounds of this hotel. And a young man detached himself from the actors, came over and greeted me, very polite, very nice young man. And I said, are you shooting somebody? I said, I'm just joking. Are you shooting a film? He said, no. And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying the grounds of that hotel, in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car, and I asked the driver who that young man was. And he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time, the president should just call and say, Sheyi, go and quell the rebellion over there. I was so astonished that I started looking for the National Security Advisor. I said, track him down for me. I think they got him somewhere in Paris, but I was with the president. He was at a meeting. And I said, I've just seen something I can't believe, I don't understand. And I described the scene to him. I said, do you mean that a child of the head of state goes around with an army for his protection or whatever? I couldn't believe it. Later on, I did some investigative journalism. And I inquired, and I found that apparently this is how this young man goes around with his battalion, his heavy armed soldiers. Of course, the road was cleared before his car went out. I stayed until it seemed he was leaving. So next time there's an insurrection, I think the president should just call that young man and say, go and put down those stupid people there. You have enough troops under your command, so don't bother me with all these security issues any longer. Let's not overdo things. This is not the first country that has a head of state. It's not the first country whose head of state has families. And I think children should know their place. They are not potentates. They're not heads of state. And the security architecture of a nation like this suffers some injury and alienation when we see such a heavy devotion of security to one young individual. You'll excuse me, but I'm in and out most of the time. And this place is named after me. It's my center. So if I go off the immediate subject of our ward, I hope you'll excuse me for taking possession of my own center.